Oh, hey, Ghoulash here, and welcome to another episode of
The GHOULOG.
In today's episode, I'm gonna be starting a new segment called where I discuss certain key episodes of horror anthology shows. I feel like it's about time I started doing that because you can't really review a whole anthology show, like, every episode is different. So let's just review them by an episode basis. So, starting out, I thought it would be appropriate to highlight a key episode of Freddys Nightmares. Now, if you didn't know, Freddys Nightmares was the official A Nightmare on Elm Street TV series, and it even had Freddy, who acted like a Crypt Keeper-style host who introduced all the stories. Now, the series was definitely an anthology series. Every episode followed a different set of characters, and Freddy was usually only implied to be involved with the stories, except for one key story that stands out. No More Mr. Nice Guy. No More Mr. Nice Guy was the pilot of the series, and holds a distinction because it tells Freddy's origin story. All the movies explained Freddy's origin pretty clearly, but they never explicitly showed Freddy's origins at all, until this TV show. No More Mr. Nice Guy also happened to have been directed by Tobe Hooper, who of course directed one of the greatest horror films of all time, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No More Mr. Nice Guy begins with Freddy on trial, so you don't really see his child murders at all. This was a TV show back in the 80s when you couldn't really show anything good. So he's on trial, and you'd think he'd be sent to prison. It's pretty clear that he killed all these kids. Well, Officer Tim did not read Freddy his Miranda rights.
The evidence presented to this court was obtained during an illegal arrest.
Oh, no.
Not in compliance with the Supreme Court's ruling on the rights of the accused.
So, Freddy is just set free. He's totally set free. He's set loose. And everybody blames Officer Tim instead of really yelling at Freddy or even beating the shit out of him when he leaves the courthouse. I guess it's a dark satire on our legal system.
You know, Michael, I had this funny idea that the law was designed to protect us.
Now, Freddy is played by Robert Englund, but they never show his face for some reason. I guess maybe they wanted to keep the mystique of what Freddy looks like beneath that makeup. But, you know, they show him in the movies, so not much mystique there, but whatever. So they never show his face. It's always shrouded in clouds of fog or dim lighting. Kinda clever, I guess. But it makes you wonder, how is anyone supposed to even identify Freddy Krueger if he's always shrouded in darkness anyway? So, Freddy's on the loose. And wouldn't you know it, his first impulse upon having freedom is visiting his old ice cream truck.
Together again. Are you ready for Freddy?
Yeah, apparently Freddy has been killing kids because of he has an ice cream truck. He's apparently an ice cream man. I don't know who would take ice cream from this guy after his highly publicized trial, but whatever. And apparently Freddy also just lives in a boiler room. Kinda on the nose, but okay. His home is this isolated boiler room. Oh, okay, totally. So Freddy isn't just gonna be handing out ice cream with his new freedom. No, Freddy's gonna be pushing his luck by trying to kill some more kids. You would think Freddy would just skip town or something, like, I don't know why he's still hanging out in Springwood. He's kinda used up all their goodwill, but whatever. So Freddy goes after Officer Tim's kids and even kills the guard watching the house, who happened to also be eating chicken. And if you ever wanted to see blood covering chicken on a paper plate, this TV episode's got you covered. You fucking weirdo. I do have to say, besides the blood being covered in chicken, this episode does have some interesting cinematography, like, for a TV episode at the time, lots of cool lighting and just interesting little camera effects, slow motion, all that jazz. Now, of course, the main thing people want to see in this episode is Freddy's burning, and it definitely happens. It most definitely happens. You do get to see Freddy burn, but it doesn't happen in a way that you'd expect. The parents all form a mob and go after Freddy, and they corner him inside his boiler room. But Officer Tim is not a fan of murder.
Put the gun down, Deeks.
Let's take him now while we have the chance. Get him.
Drop the gun.
Freddy Krueger sort of coaxes him into just killing him.
Pour it all over. The pig on thirsty. Oh, you missed the spot. Gonna have a cookout, huh?
Like, they could have just shot Freddy in the face or whatever. I guess it's not that cool if he has a bullet in his head instead of being burned, so Officer Tim decides to get all theatrical and covers him in gasoline, and Freddy's totally cool with it, because Freddy knows he's gonna come back as a dream killer somehow.
I'll be back! I'm free!
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but Freddy is now burning alive. Now, this episode came out in '88, a few years before Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare came out, and that film pretty much made this episode totally non-canon. This is the closest thing to Star Wars' expanded universe you can get with The Nightmare on Elm Street. But I guess technically with the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, all of the previous movies are now expanded universe and non-canon, so we're not gonna be seeing Robert Englund playing Freddy again anytime soon, I gotta tell you. Especially since he doesn't want to do it anyway. But of course, Freddy does come back as a dream killer. And his main target is Officer Tim. Though I would think Freddy Krueger would be grateful to Officer Tim. Officer Tim's incompetence set him free initially, and Officer Tim set him on fire, which was what Freddy Krueger wanted anyway, and made him the dream killer. But okay, I guess Freddy's very ungrateful. Yeah, Freddy's kind of a dick. But even when Freddy is burned, his face still isn't shown, so yeah, I guess they wanted you to see the movies to see what Freddy looks like in action. The second half, honestly, is kinda not as interesting. You know, it's Freddy being Freddy, but not as cool. It doesn't have the budget of a movie. So the nightmare sequences are really just normal nightmares. They're just scenarios that Officer Tim does not like his daughter's executing him, and Officer Tim, he becomes increasingly paranoid. He acts like a total bitch.
I'm losing it, team. I'm losing it.
He's always nervous and sad and scared. He has no nerve, I gotta tell you. For a police officer, he's really kind of a pussy.
Even New York is safe compared to Springwood. At least there you see them coming. We'll go back. We'll lock ourselves in. We'll be safe again.
But yeah, Officer Tim is really just worried about himself for the most part throughout this episode, I gotta say. I don't blame him, but so far he's only just experienced some paranoia and nightmares, and he's calling it quits. All of these things eventually build up, though, to Officer Tim breaking his tooth when he sees Freddy's ice cream truck. So what does Officer Tim do when he has a broken tooth? Well, he goes to the dentist, of course. And this is pretty much the final act. He's in the dentist, he's getting the gas. For some reason, he sees the nurse in her underpants.
This gas lets me see through your clothes.
It's just the nitrous taking effect.
Boy, he really is painless.
Which had to have been kinda really edgy for a TV show at the time. Now we see nudity all the time in TV now, but I guess seeing a woman in lingerie was a pretty big deal. After that, after we see the woman in lingerie, Freddy just kills him in a nightmare. And that's pretty much it, that's the end.
Big deal!
Which, it's kind of anticlimactic. It's kinda lame. I can understand why this was made non-canon. I don't really see why this Officer Tim guy would be Freddy's nemesis anyway. I don't know. It's weird. It's a strange origin for Freddy. It really muddles the origin of Freddy from just the parents went after him to this was kind of a vendetta from this Officer Tim guy. But it's cool seeing Robert Englund play Freddy at all. If you haven't seen the TV show, you should check it out just to see some more of Robert Englund as Freddy. There's only so much of that left that you can see now, because he's not playing Freddy anymore. Anyway, to wrap things up, let me know in the comments what anthology show episodes you'd like to see covered in Oh, jeez. Anyway, if you like the video, like it. Or dislike it. I don't really care. Also, subscribe if you enjoy the videos, especially the Dr. Wolfula videos. And follow Dr. Wolfula on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz, _Dr. Wolfula. Anyway, I've been Ghoulash, you fucking weirdo.